I was gonna say slow it down, man. We ain't all gotta be like John. Get 6 coaxial shielded, negative, positive, whammy jammy. We ain't gotta do all that nonsense.
Yeah. What?
We just want it to not make noise and sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun.
I have to show you pictures of my 93 Accord where I built all the Streetwires RCAs and they were put all the EQs in the back of the back seat.
Yeah, old school
flushed
stuff.
in, and dude, let me tell you, that was one of those cars that you look at the RCAs and you're like, there's no way you bought those. And we sit there.
Solder them up.
Solder.
What's up, Sean?
And just
Well, it's funny. I was digging through my garage the other day and I found all my old RCA cables from Amp from like the 90s. So I have all the dark greens, the light greens, so like the Venoms and the I don't even know what they're called.
Drone.
Oh yeah,
all that stuff.
The only thing I never got any of was the Kings. Remember the Kings? The big.
I've only seen pictures of it. I've never seen them in person.
4 gauge. It was crazy. We ran those in my old employer's house. That was cool. What's going on? Hey, from Norway. I think I just shut off the compressor, so I think we're good there.
There you go.
Because that's why we started a few minutes slow. What's up, installer Steve? How's it going, everyone? All right, so today's show we have a special guest. This guy, Jeff Smith. The national sales trainer? Is that?
I am the global director of training and events. So
that's global.
Wow, dang, that's a full card.
It's do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It sounds real neat, but anyways, so that basically means is he's the trainer for the trainers who also train. So he knows everything there is to know about Amp Global, which is PAC, which is iSimple, which is Phoenix Gold, which is what am I missing?
PAC, iSimple, Phoenix Gold, Echo Master, Best Kits, AI.
And he's done a lot of other stuff too.
Stinger.
So, hey Jeff, met you at training at Deerford, New Jersey, Best
Deptford.
Buy. There you go.
We come to Deptford every year for our Best Buy training.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many guys from Best Buy watch the show. I tell you a lot. Every time I'm out at the Best Buy trainings.
And we appreciate it.
Guys always say stuff. It's a ton of good guys at Best Buy who don't get credit.
No.
Outside Jacob.
No. Well, I mean, I should show you this email I got the other day. That it just I didn't even know how to respond to it because it was like I felt so bad for the guy that it was like we'll talk about it later. Right. But anyway, so what we got going on? Oh, did I tell you that your show won the year? You had the most people view the show out of all our guests
from back in like.
This was this year. Yeah, yeah. Your April show was the most viewed show.
The most viewed show
that we had all year.
Mm-hmm.
So good for you. You won.
Thank you.
And then it was Artie and then Haley.
Do I get a Emmy or no?
Yeah. There you go, sir. You are the winner.
You are the winner. All right. So what we brought him here for today is that we're going to have him help us answer questions. So this is the last of these shows for 2018.
Yep.
Obviously, the holidays are fast approaching, as you all know. So this will be it. We won't be doing these for 2 weeks after this because of the way New Year's and Christmas fall. So we thought, what better way than have a bunch of guests on? That's why we've had a bunch of guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be on next year. I'm gonna have him on next year. So don't tell him that. So also, before we do have one more show for Facebook that's going to be Thursday, where we're going to have Nalika. You know Nalika?
I know.
We're going to have Nalika from Orca. Orca is Focal, Gladen, and Moscone. We're going to have him on. We're going to find out all the fun stuff, and we might even have show and tell day that day. So we might have some.
I might have to come photobomb Nalika.
Yeah, that's okay by all means. So
video bomb.
We'll have that, and then also Saturday on the YouTube live show, we're gonna go for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make up for I know it's normally an hour. Saturday we're gonna go for 2 hours.
Saturday's show will be.
Wait, we're gonna see if that thing can handle 2 hours.
Wait a minute, this is 98. Nalika will be 99, so Saturday's show will be 100 shows.
Well, no, because that'll be the YouTube show, so that gets out of that count. I know, it kind of screws things up, but
almost 100 shows.
Yeah, Either way, so Saturday, if you guys are watching on YouTube and you got a question, we're going to try to get as many questions as we have because there again, we're going to be off for a couple weeks because of the way things fall. What's up, Bill? All right, I'm excited. Pat question, LP72, what would you cause the auto turn on on to work on half Chrysler platforms and not on the other.
Ooh.
Jeff!
Let me check. Classroom. I don't know if... Okay.
All right. So in the LP72, the resistor load. First of all, the entire Lock Pro series was designed in 2012 and released in 2013.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's right before the 14s hit and the resistor load value changed.
You want to know the other backstory to that? You want to know the blue dot? You want to know how the blue dot got on there?
On the
Yeah.
packaging?
Yeah. You want to know how that happened?
How'd that happen?
You know, Artie and John live next to one another.
Yeah.
Okay, so John and I were sitting out in the driveway, and he was telling me about these brand new high-level, low-level adapters they got coming out, and they're so excited and telling me all the best of the best. No, he Jurassic Parked these things. Okay.
What's up, Nick?
And I was just like, really? And I said, well, what are you going to do about Chrysler? He was like, what are you talking about? Because there again, it was that year when the proverbial poo hit the fan. Yeah. And so the first run came without the blue dot. The second run came with the blue dot
on the package that said load resistors installed.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to your story. Don't pay attention to that.
So the load resistor in the current generation of the LPs is a higher value than what's needed to keep the amplifier or head unit happy in the newer generation Chrysler vehicles.
Yes.
So we are actually, Nathan was here and Nathan talked about it's in the works to come out with a V2 of the
like
entire,
a third generation of the whole entire
it'll be
line.
like LP7 2V3 Pro something.
Wow.
And if you recall from the Nathan show where I talked about we all hate Nathan because he came up with some really bad names, there we go.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, hello from Sweden.
So anyways, a solution to that would be to...
my personal thought is to either do a dip switch of sorts.
No, I mean to solve the problem now.
Oh, to solve the problem now, just add your own load. Oh,
So-
we actually stock load resistors now. Did Ernie tell you that when he was here?
No.
We stock 33 ohm and 47 ohm load resistors at
You're
Ant
kidding.
now.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we stock them. They come in packs
I'm
up.
coming for you, Martha. Are they right on the shelf next to the amp ferrules?
I don't know. They might be, but I know we
Which
stock
they
them
do
now.
have now, because, which I have in a box that are waiting to get
ferrules are back in stock.
Ferrules are there. So anyways, so if you
33
add
ohm and 47 ohm 5 watt. In stock.
so the small ones. The smaller.
No, 5 watt. They're a little bit bigger.
Yeah, well, I'm just, okay.
Yeah. Because we have some.
Yeah.
But we ordered. Yeah. All right. So before
So a guy popped up, Robert Van Noy, asked me if I remember the ball pump numbers.
Yeah.
I remember those. I think Robert's in Georgia.
So this is a 5 watt resistor here, which is very what
I
he's
think
talking
ours are
about.
the same. Yeah, those.
So this is a
the
10
ones.
watts. You're doing a 5 watt in a sand cast.
I'm pretty sure we're doing the 5 watt in the sand for heat dissipation.
Yes, so that's good for heat. So
There you
pick
go.
some of those up. You also want to think about if you're doing the new Jeeps, the 22 ohm.
Yes, 22 in the brand new crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing works.
Nothing works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Does PAC put steering wheel control wires in the dumb harnesses? Why do those more harnesses leave the pins open, like empty?
You poor guy. Basically, what he's saying is,
Oh, like the LC mod?
no.
LC
So like when you
harnesses?
buy a harness, like a BHO or BHA harness,
Yeah.
and the steering wheel. This is a conversation I've had with.
Oh, the wires aren't in those harnesses.
Yeah.
That's actually been a conversation
Yes.
inside the company
years.
before
Yeah.
to have that stuff populated, and I guess it just has to trickle down,
Well,
and the trickling has to be such a overload before it actually
So
happens.
essentially how I solve that is I have a box over on the shelf, which you guys, one of those. Anyways, so I buy, obviously we have harnesses here, but if you go and you use the CP2 app, it'll tell you where the wires are populated in it, whether you're going to use a CP2 or not. It's a great app for finding your steering wheel control wires. If you are getting ready to do your system and you're like, I wonder where those steering wheel control wires are, if it shows them populated in the main harness, order 2 harnesses. And then you can pull those pins out and
put in
repin
the
them
other
in.
harness.
So I stuck a box over
What's
there
up,
that is
Luis?
full of pins and half-pinned harnesses so that we can just add those in.
Nice.
Because I'm that kind of guy.
Nice.
I hate cutting
Hey, your
wires.
daughter's on.
Oh, hey, Haley.
Hey,
What's
Haley.
up?
She says.
Luis from Portugal.
What's up, Lewis?
Yeah. One of you.
All right.
Too.
Worked at Vickers.
Yeah, Robert worked at Vickers. He's a good guy up in Georgia.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, we've installed and heard the Z components. Seem to lack mid bass. Is that normal?
I don't know on the Z's. I've heard those. The Z's are pretty decent.
They're decent mid bass.
I mean, the door has to be treated a bit.
Yep.
And the new appropriate
Treated.
word is treated because you don't want to get in an argument with Ernie.
Correct.
Yes. So, yes, anytime we refer to a door as treated, that means we've put some form of sound killing material.
Yeah.
So treatment
Sound
is the
treatment.
new word because no one wants to hear Ernie yell and go, "Hey man, that's not how you say it." Anyways,
your impersonation of Ernie is always hilarious. Always hilarious.
So, also, we were talking about this before the show started, and Saturday we had a topic where they were talking about, can you make a $20 or $50 speaker sound like a more expensive speaker? And after having all weekend to ponder this, the answer is yes, Victor. Your thoughts, because we talked about it. What are your thoughts about making? So, all things being equal is where this really comes down to. If you have a $50 speaker, can you make it sound like a more expensive speaker?
You definitely can make it sound more expensive because power handling.
Yeah.
Most speakers, when you reamplify a factory speaker, is going to sound a million times better.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But that speaker is only going to be able to handle that power to a certain point before it gives up the ghost. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kapow!
Yeah.
So.
Oh, hell, Mel says hi. What's up, Bismarck? So,
What's up, Mel?
now my thought on this was all things being created equal. So, like, if we're going to do sound treatment, we're going to do fast rings, we're going to do all that stuff. If we do that on a $50 speaker and we do that on a $200 speaker, okay, we're not going to make that $50 speaker sound like that $200 speaker because we just put that speaker.
No, you'd probably make that $50 speaker sound like a $89.99 speaker.
We're going to make it sound better.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's going to sound better, but it's not because the technology that goes into it. There was a really good thread online the other day in one of the Facebook groups.
Oh yes.
About
was it the foam?
Speaker price and technology and the amount of work that goes into a $500 speaker versus a $200 speaker.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's not just always about price and manufacturer goes, we need to make money, we're going to knock people's heads off. It's the fact of the amount of technology that went into the speaker for longevity, the amount of testing, the amount of materials and everything else. So, I mean, car manufacturers, they're about building cars and selling cars.
Right.
They may stick an Alpine badge, a Harman badge, a Boston Acoustic badge, or an Infinity badge, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
not the same thing. Yeah.
They license the name from a company, and it's still
you have a good relationship with the guys at Kicker.
Yep.
So I mean, when it comes, and I got to talk to Steve and Aaron over there that does the speaker testing. Talking with Steve off camera, it was like what challenges you the most? And he's like designing a $50 speaker. Because you have a box, and this is what we were talking about. You have a box, and it's like, hey, listen, I have all this wish list of sound quality, performance, power handling, blah 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 blah. well, yeah, you're doing this, but see, with them though, that's not the case because if Steve doesn't like it, it doesn't go through. So it's like, you're gonna make an exception everywhere.
That's what's awesome about working for real audio companies is that when the owner or the higher ups are involved in audio, like JL's the same way.
Yeah,
like C7 was a 3-4 year project.
Oh yeah,
the new C7 stuff. So I've heard lots of Kicker stories about Steve, and when you have a guy someone at the top that cares that much about audio, even for a $50 speaker, that's incredible.
That's ridiculous.
All right, so Victor say, is Pat working with stuff for 2019 Ford Ranger?
As far as I know, yes, because the new Ranger is already showing up in other countries, I think.
It's been out in countries for a while.
They're already working on a few things. I don't know exactly what, but I know there's some stuff in the works on the new Ranger.
All right. Andrew say, replacing the dash speakers with the Pioneer 4-inch bullet speakers. Now I have constant hiss noise with the radio off.
Okay.
So is it powered by an amplifier that's not turning off?
That's it. Yeah, but that's probably
something. I mean,
something's
whatever's powering them
is
is still on.
Well, that was the one thing about the product we were talking
about,
the box over there on the shelf that I just put in my car, is that we found out there's a 2-minute turn off on it.
Oh.
When you turn the car off, it stays on for 2 minutes before it turns off.
What is that for? OEM?
I'm thinking
noises,
it has to be,
beeps, chimes,
but it was like, because we're sitting there going, whoa, Whoa.
And there's no adjustment?
There's no owner's manual, man. Screw adjustment.
Okay, so Aaron say, I have fast rings, but not sound treatment. What do you think about that?
Fast rings work hand in hand with sound treatment because the one thing that most people don't understand is that if you buy home audio speakers, they come in a cabinet.
Yes.
Right? They sound amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Even cheap speakers.
Yep.
When you buy car audio speakers, they hand you a box.
You know? Rob says, you're saying you can't make Cracos sound like Hertz? I'm trying. You get
Right.
close, man.
Yeah.
No,
but
definitely.
so you have to have, they go hand in hand. So the sound treatment creates an enclosure for the speaker in the car door.
Yeah.
So it cuts down on noise, cuts down on vibration, and basically helps solidify mid-bass, mid-range, and everything else output.
But every step along the way helps, though.
It does.
So, I mean, if like, you're doing fast rings, great. You've gotten one step closer, right?
Yep.
It's the total package, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just like the one guy was saying, I used fast rings finally for the first time because he learned about them here on the show. It's like, yeah, it makes a difference. So, I mean, the factory is using some kind of foam to push that sound into the door.
Yep.
You should be doing the same thing too. So even, there again, that $50 speaker, if you buy a set of $89 speakers and you put some fast rings on them, you're giving those the fighting chance that they deserve.
Right.
You might not want to put $150 worth of roadkill in the door, but a set of $25 fast rings will definitely make an improvement.
Definitely.
You'll get your money back on that.
Right.
All right, so Ismail say in home theater you can have 5
Discrete channels.
discrete
What's up,
channels with one coax digital cable. Why can we have the same 5 channels with one cable from the head unit to an amp?
Okay, so
Level DSP
we used
amp.
to we used to have that. And
It's called a DIN cable.
Yeah, we used to have that back in the day. Alpine had it. Alpine was the only that I can think of off the top of my head because I've owned multiple different versions of it.
Hey, Jen.
So Alpine's AI net and optical would come back to your processor and give you
Everything.
Front, rear, left, and right, sub, center. I mean, everything. It's basically the same as what he's saying, but it's not that big of a deal right now for cardio, but I think everything comes full circle multiple times.
Well, see, and the other thing too is like when you look at like the GM61.
Right.
So the GM61 has digital
channel.
Toshlink output, and it has RCA for front, rear, sub,
What's
center.
that set?
But the problem is the Toshlink is left and right.
Correct.
That's it. Now,
because we are leaving that up to the processor if they're using a DSP
Correct.
to create and do everything else
Right.
with that 2-channel digital signal.
And then what you have to feed over that 2-channel digital signal is every sensor that makes noise in the car now has to go through left and right, whereas the RCA's
it's dedicated to where that came from.
Which is also the biggest problem. I mean, that's one of the hardest problems when we were helping with the Ford piece. Was luckily for us, we found the one truck that has every sensor in the world in it, and they hadn't accounted for that.
Yeah,
so,
that's why we got like 11 audio inputs on the Ford.
Yeah, so
AP.
like Ernie and what's his name?
Tony.
Well, no, it was Greg or Gary.
Yeah.
Went to the guy's house.
Would have been Gary.
Yeah, went to the guy's house and sat there with a laptop and figured
through all
out
the
what the
chimes.
code and got the chime back in it. So I mean, that's really, I feel, a lot of the issue is just interfacing with those factory.
Dude, those
diagrams.
guys in our company, like Gary, Greg, Mike. Mike's been on the show, but Gary and Greg haven't. Like,
They don't want
they're
to.
they're super smart guys, and they're really cool to talk to. They're like an Office Space, the guy who talks to the engineers. I speak engineer.
Yeah,
I
so you
speak
don't have
engineer.
to.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I love to see those guys come around so I can pick their brain about stuff, and they're like, "Why would you want to do that?" So that's like the favorite thing for Greg to say. Why would you want to do that?
Oh, because.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And yeah, that's always hilarious. What you got?
All right. This is kind of okay. How is the Stinger Elevate is going to compare with the Pioneer and Kenwood head units?
Oh, you got an answer for that.
All right. So from a head unit standpoint, as far as standard playback and everything else like that, it's going to compete all day long. It's going performance-wise, all day long. The audio quality, file playback, optical output that Pioneer and Kenwood won't do, built-in stereo controls, built-in camera switcher, capacitive touch screen.
Because remember, we have PAC behind this, so...
Correct.
Yeah.
The resolution on the screen is higher than the alternative radio of its similar design.
So you mean it's by the 800 by 480?
It's higher than that, you know. Okay. So it's definitely going to compare. I mean, when you don't have to compete against, and we didn't make that radio under the Stinger brand to compete against those guys.
No,
we really made that radio to fit into a marketplace where we do a lot of business, which is our expediter market, where we do lots of RVs and stuff like that. When people need 4 or 5 cameras and everything else, it just so happens that when you show that to a group of guys whose livelihood is selling stuff, right? They're like, oh, independent guys would love that. Yeah. So then I started talking to one of our guys who was the main engineer, Jose, who was no longer with us. When Jose was working on this project, I was like, dude, the brain has to be able to go further away from the screen. Because everyone always wants to custom mount the screen, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, how far are you thinking? I was like, well, let me cut this cable and see what I can do. So when I was first testing it in my O2 Accord, I literally had the screen where my rearview mirror was, and I had the brain in the bottom of the dash. So 6 feet. So it's right about 5 feet.
Okay.
So we're going to have the optional set of cables to move the screen. So back in the day, like how we used to have all the Alpine and Kenwood flip-ups with the hideaway brain.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to that.
Well, plus the other thing too is that there's a whole nother side to that radio that isn't talked about yet.
So
that would be the shrink wrap on.
Oh, that was what was that?
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, we got a ghost.
It's like a squirrel.
But no, see the other thing too. Okay, so the other thing too is. Which the other company that makes something similar to this is starting to figure out. If we have a screen here and a brain here, there's a lot of cars out nowadays that have a screen here and a brain here. Yeah. So like if you grab any current Chevy model vehicle, you have a screen here and you have a brain here.
Right.
So now you have a product that is a screen and a brain 2-piece right out of the box. So that opens a whole nother category of possibilities.
Without having to cut ribbon cables and
so
soldering.
When all you're looking at is like we just did a swap for a friend of mine where he bought a CarPlay GM, and he wanted CarPlay. So there's a company that buys those and makes the whole kit, so that you're buying the factory stuff. They reflash it and everything to your VIN. It's a real small business. It's super expensive. But there again, it's a screen, it's a box, and it's another box.
Right.
So follow the rabbit, the crumbs, and say, okay, so if we have a company like PAC that makes smart interfaces, dash kits,
right,
and then all of a sudden they start making a radio. Where could they possibly go with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
2019 is going to be interesting.
Oh shit! Just the future is going to be interesting. All right, next question.
All right. It's actually Ismail say about the home.
Oh, the home question.
Yeah. If you tossling, it's
Jason.
left, right. Only channel 1 and 3, 2, and 4 are basically the same. Plus
0.1.
Plus an 8.1, you can have it.
Yeah, so basically he's asking if we're duplicating channels 3 and 4 from channels 1 and 2, and then 0.1 is going to be the sub-channel if it's being derived from that. So yeah, you actually can do that. But in home theater, typically it's discrete, so you can actually have a receiver that will take that 2-channel signal and decode whether it's coming in, if it's recorded 5.1 or whatever else, and it'll automatically decode it.
Well, there's no upmixer.
Correct.
Yeah, so we don't have upmixers.
They're coming.
And they're coming.
And for those of you who don't know what an upmixer is, do you want to explain what an upmixer is?
No, that's you.
Really? Oh, thanks, buddy. So, for example, if you have a car that has a center channel, the center channel is derived from left and right. Well, an upmixer is what actually makes that happen and makes it actually not just a left and right sum together, here you go. So if you listen to your home stereo recorded in Dolby Digital 5.1 surround, there's a discrete channel that is that center channel that is not analog, but dialogue, and when the car zooms across the front, it motors across the screen and doesn't have these things. So some form of decoder needs to be able to do that. Well, in car audio, we have stereo. That's not there. So we need some form of device to do that. Upmixing.
You always talk about the Fosgate Gavotte. from
I love
back
the
in the day.
gavotte. So an upmixer is what gives these cars that ability to have that. So if you have a car that has a premium sound system, possibly Bose, maybe Boston Acoustic or something like that,
Yep.
it's going to have some form of an upmixer, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, all those higher-end cars that have that center channel. It's upmixing the left and right signal to give you that. That's why a lot of the times when you're going in to upgrade those, you just re-EQ them. You don't necessarily time correct them because that's already done. The hard work is done. It's great. I mean, we did a Lexus. What was it? It was IS something or other, right?
The IS
and
350.
put an 810, a DM 810 in it, and didn't touch time correction because you know better, and just did a little bit of tweaking here and there. Oh my God.
Amazing.
Oh, dude, it was silly because it was what's called a. So most of the time when you're doing time correction, you're building a one-person car, okay? Because you're time correcting to the driver, which is your forte. So just please don't say nothing. This is Mr. Time Correction EQ guy here, so you guys are missing a golden opportunity to ask EQ questions and time correction questions.
Oh yeah,
this is the guy. Anyways, yeah, I need an upmixer too. Andy doesn't really do much.
So believe it or not, Helix
Yes.
came out with the new DSP earlier this year. It's only 5 channel, but it has a really good upmixer.
Oh, it does.
Built into
See,
it.
that's why I've been reading a lot of people. They say that the Helix is really good.
Yeah, I gotta give
So
Jason a call then.
I forget what the model number is. Their model numbers are like ours.
Yeah.
But anyway, they came out with the
Today-
new 5-channel out with the new upmixer with the new bass processor as well. They just came out with the new. You seen that new one they make? That's like $6,000. It's under the Brax name.
Oh,
I
the
think.
big amp?
Oh no, maybe it's Helix. No, it's a new DSP they have.
No.
Yeah, so they just came out with something pretty cool. It's
Well, I mean, I'm sure I
8-in,
have,
12
but I
out.
don't really.
Full
When I
upmixer.
look at silliness like that, I just kind of move on because it's like, how much? Oh gosh.
Um,
Anyways, so
alright,
that's that.
What's
more or
up,
less.
William from Hawaii? Let me see. Sean say it's the Elevate. It's a true 50 watts RMS.
No, it would be this big if it was 50 watts RMS.
All right,
I mean that little Sony guy is a.
Yeah.
Good power, but-
Does anyone know 15 RAM Alpine 9-speaker sound box with the roof speakers and 3.5s in the dash? Does anyone know how to? I'm confused. There needs to be more to that question. I mean, it's just a 15
I'm not sure
RAM.
what he's asking.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Alright.
Do DSP so a new DSP with upmixer? Phoenix Gold has an awesome DSP. We know, Mel, but does it have an upmixer?
No, it does not have an upmixer.
Yeah, most DSPs don't have an upmixer, and I can tell you right now, the sub. Actually, I don't. Like you said, we're talking about the Helix. Other than that, very few of them have upmixing capability.
Current DSPs that are out now, the Alpine H800,
which is 500 years old.
the H800.
Is that the new one?
No, the new 8.
The A50.
No, not this. The
Okay.
actual black chassis
Okay.
A800 HPX 800. Yeah,
That's the one that's been out for years, though.
it's been out for maybe 2-3 years.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That one has upmixer. The Helix has an upmixer built into it. I'm just thinking of things that I've dealt with.
That one doesn't have an upmixer.
No.
The older 360.3 had an upmixer built into it. I don't know about the DSR1.
No, it doesn't.
No?
It's just a center output.
Just a center output.
And there again, there's nothing wrong with that. Basically, if you wanted, you need the upmixer for a two-person car. So if we wanted to sit in the front of the car and I wanted him to have a center image and I wanted a center image, that's what you'd need the upmixer for, so the passenger can experience the whole coming out of the dash.
Yeah,
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, it's. I don't know. I tell you, the first time I sat in Andy Waymeyer's Benz at K-Fest one year, he was in the car by himself, and he was like, I walked up to him.
Hey,
I was
man.
like, hey man, I had never heard your car before. You know, I've been a fan of Andy's for a long time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
how can you
And
not?
I sit in the passenger seat and I'm listening to
Ada
his
says
car.
hi.
So you
What's
you
up,
listen-
Okay.
So I'm listening to
Mercedes.
his car from the passenger seat, and I'm like, wow. He was like, all right, now get in the driver's seat. So we swapped seats. I'm like, wow.
Sound even better?
And it sounded exactly the same.
Oh, well, yeah,
Sound
well,
exactly the
that's what I'm
same.
getting at.
You know, so he has full center channel, the whole deal. And then my other buddy, Netan Budiano, who is an engineer for Harman, who competes with us, IASCA and all the Mecha shows and everything else. He's he designs all the Mark Levinson systems and does full audio engineering for all that
Yeah.
stuff. So if you look in the back of his Suzuki, his DSP is a Mark Levinson factory amplifier that drives all of his aftermarket stuff.
And that's why
And
we
his
just
car
EQ'd it.
sounds amazing from both seats.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, that was the thing with the Lexus. It was like, we were like, yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
And all we had to do was put in a new speaker and re-EQ it to the new speaker. It
All right.
was
Yeah,
beautiful.
that was good. All right,
Okay.
so William say, question. I just got my new system installed, and the guys on the shop use both crossovers on the radio and on the amplifier. What should I do? Just leave one or use both?
Well, they probably did that for a reason. Typically, when they use crossovers in the head unit and the amplifier, they're creating a fail-safe.
Yes.
So if the customer goes in and screws with something on his radio, and he doesn't go in and blow up a speaker or
Correct.
anything else, that's always a fail-safe. A lot of shops were taught to do that along the
Yeah, so you set up...
span to
Yeah, so what you do
protect
is you
themselves.
set up a minimum frequency on the amplifier.
CYA. That's what I was trying to remember.
CYA?
CYA. They're trying to CYA. There you go.
What is the acronym for CYA? Or what does that mean?
Cover your.
Oh, cover your butt.
Yeah. But
CYB. Yeah, so I mean, we get that question asked a bunch of times. Do I, hey, I heard my name at the beginning of the show.
Catalano.
You know, do I set up the one on the cross, do I set up the one at the radio or do I set up the one at the amplifier? Years ago it was real easy because they were all 12 dB. So you'd set
Not
up,
anymore.
not anymore because a lot of times these radios have 6, 12, 18, 24, 36, 48.
Predominantly, they go up to 24, like the Alpines and Kenwoods. Like our little Pioneer in the wood shop every day. I have to get in because I pull power from it every day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you need a new Kenwood.
24 because it saves it.
Yes. All the Kenwoods, when they migrated over to Marine, they gave all the single DINs the feature. So now you can unplug your Kenwood and let it sit on the bench for months on end. It's burned into the EEPROM.
Yeah. So
Sexy as
24
hell.
dB every day, all the way. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scott, they're good. They're good. So you can call Paul. He can give you all the details, prices, and everything on those amplifiers.
I sent that email. Remember the email I was telling you about that I read that we were talking about at the beginning of the show?
Mhm.
I sent it to Ada just to kind of get his take on it. Thanks for no help, by the way.
Ada's probably upset that the Cowboys scored 0 points yesterday.
He's got the
yeah.
tattoo, man. That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
commitment.
0 points.
That's commitment beyond commitment. I commend anyone that's willing to deface their body with that much love and passion for something.
Especially if I'm not getting paid, you know.
I put a big Morel tattoo. Oh, sorry.
Really?
Hold on, let me show you my left butt cheek. Casey might
okay.
even take me up on that.
Before you go, Sean say, what's those the installer of the year means?
Oh yeah, good call. That's
What does what?
installer of the year.
What
What does
that
it mean to be
means?
installer of the year?
Installer
Because
of
we
the
mentioned
year.
you were installer of the year. So
Yeah.
All right, so back in the day,
it always starts that way, doesn't it?
back in the day when I was a lad, no, seriously, back in the day, installer of the year was a little bit different than what it is now. I think it's still as prestigious as it is then as it is now. But back then, it was a total surprise. You were nominated by a group of your peers, reps, you know, whoever else, and you know, you get nominated, and then it goes from there. Like there wasn't really a vote for me type situation back then. But like I said, I know how to fabricate. I've never been a huge fabricator, so OE integration and doing things like that has always been like my deal. So back when I won in 2008, 2009, the year before I made it top 100, top 50, top maybe 25, and then I made top 12, top 10, however that went. And right before it all happened, like I was working on my final submission, the big presentation you have to do to send it in, and I was working on 2 Tahoes at my shop. Me, Dave Dobson, Calvin, and Brian, we were all killing these Tahoes for Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Right, doing these huge projects for Major League Baseball. And trying to work on those 2 big projects, trying to get all my submission done for Installer of the Year, and my dad has a heart attack.
Oh.
Everything stopped. I
Yeah.
could care less about those vehicles. I could care less about Installer of the Year,
Yeah.
anything else. So I called up Solomon, some dude, I can't do my, you know, submission. I'm totally pulling out because I got family issues, yada, yada, yada. He goes, I understand, no big deal. You know, so I kept it moving, 2007, 2008. So 2008, 9, I got back in it. I got nominated again, and I won. So basically, once you send in your submission, you send in a bunch of installs, you send in letters about yourself. You have different manufacturers. I had Tom Walker from Audio Control, Bob Fields from CEA back then. I had lots of different manufacturers write letters, recommendation or just who and what I've done. I've actually done a lot of crap at Audio Control, so I was really cool for Tom Walker to write that letter for me back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, it just means that at that point in time, when the judging was going on, that they
thought you were the best.
They thought I was the best candidate for that group of people that came out because, like I say, it wasn't about fabrication for me. It was really about the integration that I was doing that was pretty much ahead of the curve at that point in time. I mean, we talked about this in the first show.
Yeah. So we don't need to hammer it too hard, but that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about that whole journey, definitely go back and check out earlier March or somewhere, and you can learn a whole bunch about that. But every year they still have it. When we go to Knowledge Fest, when we talked about going to Knowledge Fest, that in Dallas is where they hand out the awards. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
On the 9904, can I go active on that? I don't think the 9904 has
active network mode.
It doesn't have network mode on the 9904, and I don't think they have it on the 9905 either. And I have to stop there because I can't talk about anything past the 9905.
Over.
Just saying.
All right. So remember the question about the Alpine Ram.
Yes.
Okay. So the Alpine Ram, he say, how does the system signal send to the speakers, like the 3-inch on the dash?
Well, it would have an amplifier
on the. Okay.
So if you have a Dodge Ram with all those speakers, there's going to be an amplifier located next to the.
There's roof speakers in the Dodge Ram.
Yeah, it's rear effect channel for the.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
Two.
That's what kept throwing me off. I'm like, what do you mean roof speakers?
Here's the steering wheel.
Yep.
Right here next to your left foot.
Factory amp.
Go up. There's a factory amp right there. You can get everything there. If you want to keep the factory radio, you can buy an Amp Pro. If you don't want to keep the factory radio, but you want a T-harness, they still make a T-harness. It's the AMP something. APH, probably CR. Yeah, anyways. Go to pack-audio.com, type in your make, model, and year, and they can get a whole bunch of stuff. So they do
okay, so this is a good one. That's from Jason. Jason is Stereo King.
Okay.
2019.
Is an installer. And
yeah,
he got a lot of stores over there. Okay, Jeff. Time correction to the center of the dash or to the front of the driver.
Oh gosh, here we go. We had this. So we had this debate with Sajecki and Bill.
Yeah.
Because Bill Freeman, he likes center of the dash. And Sajecki is, well, you finally met Sajecki. So Sajecki, as you know,
right on my face,
is I'm Sajecki, so it's going to be where I want it, and I want it here in front of me because I want them to sing to me. Which I can't fault either one, and as you and we've read many, I'm sure, debates on this topic.
Right.
Where do you fall on this one?
For me, it's always center of the dash.
Okay.
Always center of the dash, because I look at it in the way I was taught coming up in sound competition.
You notice that, Fernando? He went right into the because. You know how hard it is to get people in this chair to say that? It's like, I go to the center of the dash.
Done.
Well, coming up
next.
Coming up the way I came up in this whole cardio craze that we have, doing competitions and things like that.
Yes.
We're taught soundstage.
Correct.
All right. So this imaginary illusion of sound emanating from the front of the vehicle windshield back at you. So when you have a soundstage, you need to have a left, a center, and a right.
Correct.
So in my mind, if Bill says center is directly in front of me, left is only going to be about that far away from me.
When you said that left, center, right, you just heard that lady say, I am speaking from the center of the dash, didn't you?
Yeah, sure did. So if center, I'm not saying anyone's wrong if they want center directly in front of them.
Oh yeah, it's not a wrong or right.
If center is directly in front of you, that means your left would technically have to be 3 to 4 feet outside the left,
Yeah.
And that's not
really
going to
should
happen.
appear to come from a single point at the far left of your soundstage.
Dude, if you knew how many times I've heard that in my life.
No part of my voice should appear to come from the left or the right channel.
Dude, I've heard that 8 gajillion times in my life.
If you guys don't have this, it's called My Disc. You can get it on iTunes. Sheffield Labs. Just type in My Disc. It's like
Do they have all the other discs? 101, 102, 103? Just My Disc?
Just My Disc.
Right.
And it's like 5,000 tracks. And if you have a shared playlist like I do, when that appears on there, whoever's using the purchase playlist immediately is pissed.
Oh, of course.
Immediately is pissed because they're driving in their car and it's going. Yeah. What the? Is this crap playing in my stereo?
Yeah.
All right, so when time correcting to try and move the sub sound more forward with the sub facing rearward, do you measure from the sub cone
Ooh.
to the panel of reflecting off?
Okay, I'm gonna give you an out on this one. If you don't want to answer this,
No,
one,
I'll answer. I mean, I know what I know. It works for me.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
there
So,
you go.
all right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gonna preface
Okay.
this what works for you because I'm not gonna lie. This is probably one of the most avoided questions I have asked people. Period. Because people are afraid to commit.
Really?
People are afraid to commit. I mean, for me, I measure from my head to the relative area where the subwoofer is. But then if you fire it backwards, are you going back and front? You know, so people just get really sketchy on that.
So this is the thing that people have to realize. I wish Catalano was here because Cat John would understand. John cooks, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you follow a recipe, you may go exactly to every instruction, and you get ready to taste this meal, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know. Then you go, I want a little bit more of this. I want a little bit more of that.
It's barbecue in Dallas.
Car audio is the exact same way.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So everyone hears a little differently.
Mhm.
All right? So sub-bass to mid-bass transition for me
Yes.
and the guys who cars I tune and so forth and so on, right? So of course I'm going to measure from driver seated position from the headrest. Typically for me, I measure about 4 to 6 inches off the headrest.
Correct.
Because that's the
where
half point in the middle of my head, right?
If you can't have a
Back
person
to
sitting
the
there.
actual voice coil where I can get the closest measurement to the actual voice coil of the driver.
So voice coil of the driver, not
Voice
the cone.
coil, not the cone, voice coil,
Voice
because if we're always taught to go to the center of the driver, even if you're doing to the door panel for
Okay.
a mid-bass driver, you
Right.
want to add that extra 1 or 2 inches to go to the actual center of the driver,
Right.
From where the sound emanates from.
This is
Right?
funny. This is how you take panoramic shots from a camera. You know how people always do this in panoramics?
Uh-huh.
To actually do a panoramic shot, you have to have a gimbal that's set up to be at the focal point of, or to be at where the lens meets the sensor. That's how you do an actual panoramic. They make a tool that allows you to move the camera back and forth so you can find the true center of the camera.
Really?
And then you can do a panoramic shot. That's how you do a real
Yeah,
panoramic. Not
go
this.
right to the full,
Not
right
this
to the actual
silliness
center,
or
right?
not this.
So, so once you get those measurements in, right, and typically you want to, we're always taught.
So what if it's firing back?
Doesn't matter.
Firing back, up, down, left, right.
For me, it's never mattered.
Okay.
So there, you're going to get that first initial measurement, okay?
Correct.
Plug that guy in. Hopefully your crossover, all your speakers are electrically in phase.
Always
right?
the first check.
Always the first check, right? You want to make sure your crossovers are all in, hopefully,
Relatively close.
24 dB if you can. All right?
Oh, you like 24?
Yeah.
I like a really good. I like roll off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's all about phase.
I know.
It's all about phase. So 24 dB back in phase.
Okay.
All right. So from there, it's going to be a output level difference, and you can also adjust the time just because that's where the measurement is.
Right.
You can still make adjustments because if you detect the phase of the driver to still not meet the impact of the mid-bass driver up front, you can still make that adjustment.
Right.
So you may want to add delay or take away delay in order to, for your hearing, to make that sound, to make that impact of the subwoofer move up front in the vehicle.
How does the phase inversion affect the timing?
Phase inversion's not going to affect the timing because you're not moving. The only time you would affect the time is if you physically move the subwoofer.
Right.
You're going to throw the phase off, which is going to totally blow everything apart at that point in time. John, I don't follow recipes.
Yeah, I know. He just needed a little more of this, a
Yeah, a
little
little more of that.
So basically, the point of it is the takeaway from this is that, and which is what we try to express in the videos a lot of the times, is that you need a starting point. Everything needs a starting point. So, like, you know, nowadays, if you have all the cool tools in the world, you essentially can get to. Oh, I have a DMRTA over there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyways, so you can get to this point to where you're actually, you've not even heard the car.
Right.
You know, because you can set up distance, you can set up clip, you can set up your curve, you can set up any abnormality DEQing that needs to be done. There's all this stuff that you can actually, before you actually go play.
Yep.
So, but all that's
99% already there.
And all that stuff doesn't mean a load of anything until you hit play, because all that's done is got you into you're in the stadium. It's like, I've done the necessary work to be in the stadium. Now I need to figure out everything else.
So this is the really hard part for a lot of people, is that when customers come into the door, customers don't have a reference.
No.
Right? They don't have a reference.
Right.
And a lot of the shops don't have a good reference.
No.
And they've never been taught a good reference.
Right.
So I forget who gave me this analogy years ago, but it stuck with me and I use it all the time. When's the last time you seen a demo board going down the highway? Right? Never. You never see a demo board going down the highway, right? You see cars.
Yeah.
So a shop should have a good car as a demo to give their customer an actual reference of what the end result, what they pay for, should sound like.
Okay.
Right? So that's just one of those things that if no one has a reference.
Right.
You know, so if you don't know how to play basketball, you're not going to go to a volleyball player to teach you how to play basketball, right?
Well, that depends. I don't know. It's a pretty cute volleyball player. Somebody ask,
you
hey, man,
have-
show
you
me how
have
to
to
throw some
have-
balls around?
You have to have some sort of reference, you know, so...
Well, okay, so your boy Monster and Miguel?
No, it's Ricardo.
Ricardo.
From Monster Garage in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
his is a real good set of headphones. Get a real good set of headphones and get a real good recording. Sit down and listen to it. Because what that now, if you've never you listen to those airplane headphones.
No, that's what I travel around with. I travel around with my Sony. No.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
that was for Tazi.
Okay.
My Sony XM1000 or whatever they are. Awesome noise canceling.
Yeah.
Travel man's headphones, right?
Yeah.
But I have
Sennheiser
a really good pair of headphones that I've had for. Actually, I got them from Mike Eckley.
Okay.
I have a really good pair of old school MB Court headphones when I was on Team MB Court.
Yeah.
That were like $1,400 back in the day.
Yeah.
That is my headphone when I want to listen to something. If I want to get all the little nuances in something.
Yep.
So you know when you put those on, you're gonna get this spacious array. So, and that's the easiest way to think about a dash. You know, because if you're sitting in a car and there again, if you put on a really nice set of headphones, the sound should sound like this across the front of your eyes. You should be able to close your eyes and envision this guy singing somewhere about here, and then the musicians can be somewhere in this area.
Yeah, but it all depends on the recording, right?
Well, it does depend on the recording, because I've got a recording of one where it sounds like the guy's singing from a bar stool at the end of the bar, and the backup singers are on the stage, and the bartender's over there doing this, and it's like, this is the most annoying thing ever.
I'll tell you one of the weirdest tracks, and people probably don't, some people may not even know who this lady is. So back in the day, I was tuning a car with my buddy Scott Harris back at Sound Effects in Alabama. And we were listening to a CD, and we were done, and the radio's kind of down in volume, and we're sitting there talking. Right. Because we would sit in the front of a car when we were building two-seat cars, and we would take notes, and we would talk about, this is kick panel cars.
Yeah.
So we would take notes, and we're sitting there talking back and forth about this particular car, and then all of a sudden the music started playing again. This lady started talking or singing, and it scared the crap out of us. So it's the hidden track at the end of Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
When it's only her.
Yeah.
It is the most amazing spatial track. It's just her, all the echoes and everything else at the end. Dude, it scared the crap out of us because it's a hidden track. It's not listed, and it's like you got to get through 7 minutes of silence before it comes on. But it's incredible. If you have a really good sound system, I mean, for vocal centering and spaciousness and the size of a room and things like that, that's a really good track.
So someone was asking on there, what frequencies do you play when you're testing for mid bass and subwoofer alignment?
They don't want to ask me that. Okay,
so now I gotta know.
All right. I don't play frequencies. I listen to music.
Which makes sense.
I listen to actual music, and I listen to some pretty crazy. Well, it's not crazy to me, but for some people who go, I thought you were a sound guy. Like, okay, here's a story.
Okay, here's a little story.
Back in 2005.
Yep.
Tony Pasquale, Justin, I don't know why Justin's last name is.
It's okay.
All right. Anyway, lives up in Orlando.
Okay.
Right. So they used to. We were all competing together. Yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin, like me, MB Court guy, 2 6.5 subs. Yada yada yada. And my deal for tuning mid bass was Mike Jones.
Okay.
Mike Jones.
Mike
Right?
Jones.
Right?
Mike Jones.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
Because that was one of my tracks, but that's the one that Justin remembers. He was commenting on it the other day. Because I would have the mid basses playing so hard, the attack, the punch of a few songs off of the CD, that you could shut the subs off and you would not know that the subs were even on.
Which is
off.
Understandable because
Right?
in sound cue, let's be honest, sometimes not knowing the sub is on.
So I would use that. I mean, I use a lot of different music. There's Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Stefan, Miami Sound Machine.
Yeah.
I got that track from Scott Walden one day listening to one of his cars a long time ago. But just the impact of the
you should put your
Congo
list
drums
together
and yada yada.
I'll add it to one of the.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. There's a lot of different tracks out there for really crazy mid bass. A lot of drum solo tracks.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And you can shut the subs off. The subs should only give you that little bit of presence.
It's sound quality, yes. It's
Right.
very funny because like when we were listening to the Focal guy, which I can never remember his name,
Nick
with the truck.
Yeah.
The Chevy truck.
yeah.
When we were listening to
Oh
his
yeah, I took
truck,
you over to his truck and listened to K-Fest. Yeah.
So when we were listening to his truck at K-Fest, it was so funny because like he's sitting there going, they say my truck can't get loud. It's gonna hit 120 dB just like this. Listen, and he's playing. He like switches over to some Aerosmith, and I'm like, you have a 500-pound subwoofer box back there. I was hoping for just a tad more.
Yeah.
And he's like, look at that. It's pegging the meter at 120. I'm going.
Yeah. Justin Polk. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
I'm like, okay. I mean, hands down, one of the most amazing
Nick's
five-speaker
truck is
stereos I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, and for 5 speakers, you're just sitting there going,
Yeah.
what the?
Same front speakers that were in my car. So those Illusions. No, the Illusion C3.
The Illusions.
C3CXs.
Is that what he has?
Yeah,
Yeah.
C3CXs. He has
got
a
some
Focal
mid-bass.
mid-bass in the door and a Raven 12 in the back of his truck.
Yeah. Because he swapped out. He just swapped the box because he had some home speakers that he took out, and then he swapped it to the Raven. That's the other brand they sell at Orca.
Adam's asking about Brian Mitchell's Caddy. Yeah, Brian Mitchell's Caddy has really good mid-bass also.
I love mid bass.
Yeah.
So when Nathan and I were building our systems back in the day, we all had Morel. So my door consisted of 2 6-inch Morel mid bass, one Morel 6-inch mid range, which was basically a 3-inch dome and a 6-inch mount,
Right.
and then 2 tweeters. Two of their I want to say it was the horn tweeter, but it might have been the flush tweeter, even though it was like this deep. I think it was a flush tweeter. You tweeter, it's 1-inch dome at the front, home style. Where
Yeah, it was deep and it had a flare, but it was a soft dome.
Yes.
Yep.
So 2 of those. His door was 3 mid bass, 2 mid range, and 2 tweeters.
Right.
And then in the back, he also had a mid range, a tweeter, and a mid bass. So his was double whatever mine was. And so his door was just like a lot of the doors are now. It was just 6.5s everywhere.
Right.
But it was.
Nathan pioneered the per audio move.
It was pretty close to that too. I wish he had pictures. I'm sure he's got pictures somewhere because he never throws anything away.
Yeah.
But but oh my God, the mid bass you got, because each one of them had a Ryan 250SX on them. So we just had
Big power.
on every. It was like, it might have been 275 SXs, but there was just so much power in that car. And like in mine, I had 6 amplifiers. So it was because it was all active. It was 4-way active back then.
So my Accord that I won with in 2004, it was 11 amplifiers. So 9 individual 100-watt mono blocks on every full range
Were they
speaker.
the little ones?
The little extant 1.1s.
Okay, so you were that guy.
So I was that guy because I had Alpine
God.
F1, so I had every individual channel.
Yep.
And then I had a 1500-watt mono block on the 215s.
So did you follow Ryan at all?
Very much.
Remember the 220 GTs?
Yeah, 220 GTs were tiny.
Dude.
What do you have on the wall back there?
That's a 280GX.
280GX. Yeah.
I
knew there was something
I
back
actually
there.
have a 620 GT at home.
Oh, that was a baby. But it was 6 channels, 20 by 6.
Yeah, 20 by 6.
Yeah.
4-channel input.
I'm old school, you know that.
Yeah. So we go to Daytona or one of those shows.
You said something on the other show when Nathan was here that I cracked up laughing because like nobody knows what phantom power is.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
From back in the day, nobody knows what phantom power is.
Dude, my
anymore.
most favorite EQ was the 600 Orion Phantom powered 6-band EQ, and the only reason why I liked it is because it had their logo that glowed on it,
yeah.
the old school logo, and I was just going, I would just sit there and it was mounted up above my mirror, and I just like little tweaks. But anyway, so this guy had like, I don't know, 220 GTs in this thing, just you know, and they were powering everything.
Yep.
You know, each voice coil, everything, and I'm just looking at it going, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, just get some real power. Because I can!
Yeah, that's kind of like my deal when I'm big on active number one, but back in the day...
We know you know. You're old too. I've seen the gray.
But like back in the day, that was my amplifier for stuff like that was the M25.
Okay.
Right? So some people it was like the Punch 30, Punch 45.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were a little bit bigger, but those amplifiers did a ton of output. You know, 25x2 that would just go crazy. You know, the Orion version was 20x2, you know, but...
Yeah, 22, 222s.
Yeah.
That's what I had. I had three 222s,
You might see a flashback system come back. Retro.
That's Kip and Dave from Kicker.
Spies.
What's going on?
Oh, Spies from that Telarc disc, music for espionage. That was a really good CD as well.
Okay.
Oh, that alarm.
Oh, the alarm. Did you put it in?
I haven't put it in yet. But I've started to lay it out. That's an alarm. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's got awesome mid-bass.
So that alarm.
Yes. So for you guys who don't know what we're talking about, we did the video where we showed the old school Clifford alarm. Jeff got it. And
he was the winner. Here you go.
So that's
you won it.
So that's an alarm that, I mean, you literally have to run 4-gauge set alarm.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything requires so much power.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I've been trying to lay it out for my build and trying to get it all in there. So it's coming along.
Is it?
It's coming along.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You just have to think about, because...
Oh, yeah. You have to pre-think everything.
That alarm is not a T-harness like today.
No.
That is
It's not a small wire alarm.
I have to really think about what I'm doing and where everything is going. Because it does windows up and down, remote start, I mean, everything.
And there's like 12-gauge wire just hanging off everywhere because that was back in the day when everything was
and you have to plug every wire.
Clifford and Teleguards are no joke. They are not for the weak at heart.
No, God, no. I told you when we were talking about that, we bought all the closeout, what was it, Avant-Garde 3s.
Yep.
So we had, it looked like a cereal album because that came in a cereal box.
Huge box.
So we had...
And it was weird because remember it wrapped from brown to blue and green.
Well, it's because they all faded.
Yeah.
You know, and then they came wrapped in the hose. So the first thing you do is screw it to the bench and start ripping off all the hose. Because it was like, who's going to be running garden hose in a car?
Add a VSE for life. I hated VSEs.
We sold Clifford, we sold Alpine. We were big Orion
Merry
Alpine
Christmas,
alarms.
Dave.
We did a ton of Alpine alarms. So it was a lot of fun.
Did you ever do a Kenwood alarm?
They had alarms?
Kenwood had alarms.
We didn't do Kenwood back then. Yeah. Kenwood came late in life.
Yeah.
Kenwood came as a result of Alpine.
Kenwood's alarm were pretty cool. I mean, Alpine's alarms were the same way. Even before like 8027 and 8080s and 8070s and all that stuff.
What kind of cars you put in the alarm?
The Clifford?
What are you putting it in? You're putting it in your Prelude,
right?
my
92 Prelude SI.
There you go.
90.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways.
Somebody asked that?
Yeah. So what car you
that's
putting
it. But yeah, they all tied into the head unit, right? Because the head units were all pull-out back then.
Okay.
So there was a wire on the back of the head unit. When you pulled it out, number one, if you pulled it out and armed it, it would help. It would trigger the LED to blink.
Oh.
But if you pulled the pull-out out after the alarm is on, alarm went off.
Okay.
Right.
So it was like a BMW Z3 with the little... Yeah, that was always fun.
So I have a pull-out radio in that car as well.
What? I got a cassette over there.
I have cassettes. I actually bought cassettes off eBay for that radio.
What about the CVA 1000 integrated into the 8063?
Yes, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So for those guys who don't know, Alpine actually had their flip out and their alarm would tie together so you could get a full status report and adjust sensitivity and do all that fun stuff on the face of the radio. Then when they decided to move forward into the next generation of the CVA 1000, I asked, hey man, what happened to that? And the guy goes, well, you know when you guys are all sitting at a meeting and you have like all these papers on the desk and like there's that one piece of paper at the corner of the table and you're like, that's the thing that's holding this up, and then somebody just does this and it falls off the table and then we kind of brush it under the table? Well, that's what happened to that feature. And I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, when you saw that alarm brain with an AI net connector on it, you were like, and everything, because remember all the screens and it would show like the wave, the radio waves and everything like that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Wow.
That was good times back then.
Quantum Pro.
80s. Hell yeah, baby. This is the best alarm clock you could get.
No, it's not a 4-wheel steering Prelude. I would never own one of those.
Oh.
Well, that's just me. I'm not saying they're bad. I wouldn't want a 4-wheel
Because you got to fix that.
There's a whole nother brain behind the back seat.
Yeah, you got to fix that.
And then
It's broke.
it won't work for what I'm doing with my swing.
Yeah. Oh, shh. That's not white noise. Well, hey, you know what, Jeff? Thanks so much for coming on. Believe it or not, that's been an hour.
Right?
We didn't even talk about the time correction thing.
Well, you know what that means. We'll have to have you on again in 2019.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll build up a cool...
We'll do it.
Well, hell, it's easy. Listen, man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Not a problem.
Always.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching the show. If you guys want to support the show, that means you guys can become a Patreon member. If you become a Patreon member, you get a video version of the podcast we do. We try to do a podcast at least twice a month. You get a video version of it. Patreons are the only ones that get a video version of that. If you want to buy the cool tools that we use, DNF Tool Drawer is the place to find those. And of course, if you want to get a cool 5-star t-shirt for Christmas or whatever, head over to teespring.store/5star. There you can find a t-shirt starting at $20. It's a lot of fun, and all that goes towards supporting the show. Anything else, Fernando?
Thank you.
Thursday is going to be Nalika from
Yep.
Orca, so make sure you check that out. And then
Definitely
Saturday,
coming
we're
by.
going to have a YouTube 2-hour fest of Q&A where we get to stand up and sweat. Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Luis.
All right, that's it. You guys have a wonderful, safe week. We'll see you guys
See you,
again
John.
on Thursday.
Bye,
Don't
Jason.
forget,
See ya.
Thursday, Uber is cheap is on the weekends, man. But if you're going to be doing something
Uber's
silly...
cheap on the weekends.
So on Saturday, because it's Saturday show, we always end the show by saying Uber and Lyft are cheap. Don't do something stupid. We want to see you back on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So for those of you guys that have the
You
week
drink,
off, because I know some of you do, don't do anything stupid. Save the drink until the weekend. All right, guys. See you
you
later.
guys.
Bye.